Okay, here we are, the Mass Movie Mavens. It's Chris Palermo, Chuck Slavin, the .com. I call him the mayor of background actors. Chuck, how are you?
Good, we have women here.
We do.
You got chicks.
Are you
sure?
got
chicks, man.
Now the cries have been heard on the Mavens. They've been saying too much testosterone.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to change with us, let me tell you, because we're
I can
tough.
uphold my end of the bargain.
Yeah, really. We're tough chicks. Look out.
So I want to introduce to the world Joan Quinn Eastman, who, hopefully a regular Mass Movie Maven here.
You better believe it, baby. And you are Chrissy Poo. I love you.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, wait a minute. Before you guys go any further, I got an issue here.
Okay.
Mass Movie Mavens. Of course, we're not going to just talk about movies. We're actually going to talk about TV today. But Mass Movie Mavens, doesn't it just sound like feminine? Mavens?
That's okay.
Chuck Slavin, the movie Maven. Ooh, baby.
Are you craving your Chuck Slavin?
Okay.
I love it.
So sitting next to Joan.
And we have it as T-shirts now.
Yeah, so we got another chick here. We got another tough chick here.
Carol Beggy, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
From the names column, we read you for many years.
Of the
Formerly.
column, I don't want to take away from what
Sure.
Mark and Meredith do on a daily basis. That's a tough enough job.
Yeah.
You don't need other people glomming on
So
it.
as we were just walking down here to the studio, you were able to keep up with Chuck, the mayor of background actors, very well, and offer us some info that just made us kind of stand up and take attention.
He and I have been on the opposite sides of a thin piece of yellow tape about 1,000 times, I think. You know, I've been holding a notebook and you've been, wearing a bow tie and then wearing, parade glowing clothes. But
I
this
thought
was
she was
not
talking about crime scene tape.
But it could have been that too.
Actually, the bow tie thing was kind of getting me kind of hot there for a minute. Keep going.
Hey, that's what I hear about you. Your work is a crime, Chuck.
Yeah.
There was a summer there,
I got out of there.
2 summers ago, where I kept running into almost every one of you and your colleagues on like 4 or 5 different movie sets on a different day, and you'd look up and it's, wait a second, they're on a parade route. Wait a second, they're in a courtroom scene.
Yeah,
wait a
that's funny.
second, they're
They're thugs in
that
South
first
Boston.
year of the movie, when we were shooting My Best Friend's Girl or whatever that became,
That was
Bachelor
a
number
busy
2 or
summer,
whatever.
yeah.
Just ridiculous. I would run into the same group of people being corralled one day wearing seersucker suits, and then the next day they would be looking like South Boston thugs. Hey.
Yeah.
You're talking about some of my relatives there.
So, Carol, tell us now, New England Cable News, you have a show coming on.
I am going to be the senior head writer and a field producer. Terry Stanley, who is formerly the editor of Boston Comic, and he sense a trend of some of the former print people, was last fall. She had left Boston Common, and October or so, and just took a look around and said, what would I like to do? Sort of the best place to start a group project,
That's
right?
very good.
And then said, what does the city need? And that's not always this. You can't always find a way to make those two things happen.
and
Very
make money.
rarely in life. Yes, exactly. And then the third thing would be, couldn't we make some money at doing this? And it just so happened that even with a horrible economy, Terry was able to get a deal with New England Cable News, and we will have our first 30-minute show to air weekly.
Wow.
And it'll premiere the Wednesday after Labor Day, which I believe is September 9th. And it's going to cover everything from power players. That's not you. I'm just teasing. I'm pointing,
She's pointing to Chuck.
But one day you have to promise me that we can have you as a power player segment.
I will come on.
The fashion segments, which will cover men's and women's fashion. Also some outdoor stuff. Literally, poor Chris Talanian, segment host, has already been on a zip line in 0-degree weather and is going back up to go on a zip line, and he's gonna go kite sailing in Boston Harbor and all kinds of ridiculous things like that.
Hey.
And there are also segments that include real estate and design, and as I said, some fashion and nightlife. And
Any music?
We're doing some of the music scene. One of the first segments we've done for basically we do a scene spotter, which is a lot of the local music scene. And one of the first segments we did is how they've revamped Saint, because obviously we have to start to shoot pilots, and that's it. As soon as that contract was signed, I wouldn't even say it was a dry signature. It was a slightly moist signature. We had crews out on the street trying to shoot, and they've revamped the nightlife at Saint, bringing in some really hot DJs who have Boston roots. And so that's a big part of the show, is to always show what's going on here in the city, and that we're not a bunch of backwater people. I mean, some of us are.
Speaking of water, I heard that it's going to be like an upscale version of Dirty Water.
It's a little broader than Dirty Water. I like what Dirty Water does.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's room enough in this pool for
And I like it when we're saying the word broader.
Okay.
I like that.
I've never
Yeah,
seen that.
that are
I've never
a
seen
couple of old broads like us really
They
appreciate
do.
that.
They have. They're really good with using their Facebook page and all that networking and all that site. And,
I know about Facebook.
Do you? You've heard of that?
It's his part-time job.
It is. It is a job.
You have to do that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
you
right?
do.
It's fun. It's fun to keep
And
up.
so and there are also people who have compared it to sort of like Dirty Water TV, some of the other shows. This is, it's really where journalism meets entertainment. It's a lot more free flowing, and I think people who, and I'm not poking at anybody who's currently on the air, but Chronicles some people have tried to compare it to Chronicles.
Yeah,
It's not
kinda-
that. It's not the long form journalism. It's
You're
a lot-
hip.
Okay.
Thank you.
said that,
I
not
said
me.
it. Well, because that,
I was
I'm
gonna
so
say
glad you
too,
said
I
that.
normally
Because
take
that is
naps
what
when
Chuck
it
and
comes
I
out.
and Joan were going to do for, the movie production.
Right.
Fine, okay, you can get, your info the old-fashioned way, or you can get it the real way. The real way, slick. Chuck and I are kind of slick, and we're about being out there in the community, too. Now, you probably are doing a ton of field production, which is exciting.
Absolutely.
Right? So tell us about some things you've shot.
Well, the crews are literally. I almost passed one of our crews
Yeah.
because it's a startup in New England. We have South Boston Studio that's being built out as we speak.
exciting,
We're
yep.
over on 84 Summer Street, so at least that lets us get to every place in the city as quickly as possible.
And there's free parking over at Amarin's.
Well, we're further down on the outside. We're by as
best
the
Guinness in
locals
South
say.
Boston,
Starting
according
to
to
like
Carol.
Joan more and more. She's mentioning bars. This is great.
No, it was Carol that. And Carol, you have to tell the story.
Right. Well, Chuck, we're by the Edison, as everybody always, like the new folks don't even know that.
The Italians don't know
That's what we
that
call the power plant over there, And it's because it's nice weather today that it's like the last nice day for a week. So the outside crews are literally shooting B-roll everywhere. They're in the back bay. They're shooting over at near BU to get some shots back of the city, and just so we have it. And again, once we really get rolling with production, say August, we'll be up and running full time. We'll be about 2 weeks out for a week delivery, but we're trying to shoot as much of it as timely as possible so that you can actually do it. So all the segments are outside wherever they are. We're not going to cover the scene by phone.
Of course
We're not going to
not.
send. We're not just going to send a camera crew. We send the real hosts. They're filming. The co-hosts and the segment hosts are there on site doing those
That's it
things.
with the people.
Yeah, so when you see those
So you
crews
see
out
the
there, you'll know
folks.
what it's all about.
That's
Well, Chrissy Poo, if you don't mind,
Joni.
you know what Chris is in my cell phone as?
What?
Crisp.
You don't want to know what
Chris.
you're in.
CHRISP, just
Yeah.
like
Are
that,
there
Chris.
broadcast regulations on the internet?
Not at all.
On the Googles?
Well, I just wanted to connect a few dots
Yeah.
here because
Oh, yeah.
Chris and I have a long history together. We worked
Sorted,
for
isn't
many
it?
years at WBZ.
Yeah.
Oh, it was obscene.
We had
I'll
some
tell you.
fun.
The things, the
Yeah.
outtakes he got me saying in that studio
Oh,
are
yeah, we'll have to dig up.
verboten. But it was so much fun. And Chris is such a doll, so
Oh,
we know
thank
each
you.
other from there. And prior to that, I was a personality, if you will, on Kiss 108.
Of course.
And in between those gigs, I ran the mass media line. So, Chuck, I just wanted to thank you on the air for carrying the torch of
Look at that.
networking with our movie makers and talent in New England. I think it's awesome what you've been doing. He's
Thank
just
you.
a one-man force of nature over there.
Well, it's just,
I hereby
maybe everybody's passion.
W Master
Passion, I don't-
Extra Networker.
Well, and Joan, let's not forget, of course, you're an actress.
Well, I don't
mean-
like to say that. I can't really
Well-
act. I can
Lily
talk.
Tomlin's body double.
Sure.
Are we
Well,
allowed to say that?
Body double, baby. No, I was her stand-in, and I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
the thrill of working 2 days up close and personal with
Wow.
Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin, who was one of my inspirations for going into this business.
Wow.
And I would have paid $1 million to watch that. I was shoulder to shoulder with them for 2 solid days, and
Yeah.
met all the stars of that show: Andy Garcia, Alfred Molino, Emily Mortimer. Oh my God, they were great, and that was such a fabulous production. Why the heck did that get so wrapped? This is a good question to ask Carol, who's in the print media. Why the heck did Pink Panther get tanked and Mall Cop, they said, was ingenious? I don't get it.
Well, actually, Mall Cop didn't get the world's greatest reviews. And the other one that always surprises me is, which people did hold up to us, meaning those people in print. And I have been a critic in the past. I worked with, when Bob Tremblay and I worked out at the Metro West Daily News, what's now the Metro West Daily News. I was features editor for the community newspaper company for a while there. The one that the media got beaten up locally for was, Daddy's Little Girl, the game plan. was filmed roughly at the same time, as Gone Baby Gone. And they come out, and Daddy's little girl.